Hotep, Black Power. Giving honor to the ancestors as always. Giving honor to the Creator, the Creator, Creators. Forgive me. The ancestors, all the powerful ancestors, the beloved ancestors. When I use the term great great grandparents, I mean that they were actually great. Also, giving honor to you all the brothers and sisters that's out there fighting for the liberation and salvation of the black nation. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about some things that usually I always talk about events and just certain world issues and events and things of that nature. But I'm gonna get a little more personal today. I'm gonna talk about certain vices that we as melanated people are dealing with, and some tips and some suggestions on how to deal with things and some coping mechanisms in order to try to arrest these things until they are actually conquered and combated or defeated, or if you will. So I want to talk about like addictions. You have so many addictions, but the ones that we primarily focus on: drug addiction, food addiction, gambling addiction, sex addiction. You know, um, Primarily drug addiction because it's a more, even though drug addiction is prevalent and widespread, and the addiction ranges broader than one may think, because when we hear the term drug addiction in the black community, the first thing we think of is alcohol or crack cocaine or heroin or snorting and all that type of stuff. And it's just not, it just doesn't stop there. It's much more broader than that, because now you have prescription medications, that are just as powerful, just as potent, and just as addictive as the quote unquote street drugs. Percocets, Vicodin, Ritalin that the children take, those type of drugs that we kind of, give passes to those who have those particular addictions, because you can legally purchase those drugs. But that's not the case, because the body doesn't know a prescription drug from a street drug, and an opiate is an opiate. And drug addiction, in terms of the prescription drug addiction, has been going on for generations. Because I'm quite sure some of you can remember your grandmother, your great grandmother saying, or even your mother saying in some cases, "Baby, look in there and get my back pills, my back medication, my medication for my back, my medication for my legs, my arthritis, or whatever." Those were, those were the same opiates that they have today. They may be called by different names, but it's basically the same exact thing, same pills, and CVS basically has become the new drug strip, because the pharmacists, the pharmacies are just flooded with uh, scripts of prescriptions from doctors for Vicodin, Percocet, Percodan, and other, Ritalin, and these other, psycho drugs that not only our babies are taking, but a lot of the adults are taking. Now primarily Europeans, these crackers, they really, bombard the pharmacies, because a lot of them They know how to write prescriptions and things of that nature, because crackers are they are the biggest junkies on the planet. Just like a lot of people don't know that, there are more white people that receive public assistance and welfare in Section 8 than they are blacks, but you never hear about that. That's never discussed, in the media. So anyway, crackers are the biggest junkies, on the planet, and they know that, and they have cornered the market with this prescription medication. Now, these fucking doctors, these so-called white imposter Jew doctors in these hospitals, these crackers, they know the addiction of these opiate laced drugs. Like I said, Percocet and all that, Vicodin and all those, Lortab and all those different uh, opiate laced drugs. And soon as you go into the emergency room, they're quick to give you a prescription for that because they know that it'll be just a matter of time. By the time you finish your second prescription, by the time that second one is filled, you basically have an opiate habit, And now, opiate habit in terms of the prescription medication is no different than a heroin habit because opiates is opiates, But it appears that we kind of like give that, like I said, we give those people a pass, but yet we come down and we degrade the ones that are using street drugs, you know, and before opiate is a medicine, as a matter of fact, and you know if taken correctly, because it is a medicine, it comes from a poppy, it comes from a plant. And if taken correctly, if you have particular ailments, it can cure those particular ailments, But once it becomes crystallized, and the chemicals are added, then it becomes a narcotic. Then it becomes habit forming, and then you get to the level of abuse, you know. And abuse is actually when, if the bottle says take one every 4 hours, and you do that for 3 days, and then on the fourth day you're taking three, every 4 hours, now you're abusing, the prescriptions, and then that leads to, because your tolerance level, by us being melanated people, by us having a heavy concentrated level of melanin in our pineal gland, we gravitate to those chemicals. Our DNA and our balance, our chemical balance in our system gravitate to those chemicals from the drugs. So, in other words, we get higher than crackers do. And that's why crackers go overboard. When you see a black person may just take a shot glass and maybe just sip, alcohol, where the cracker takes the whole bottle and just, flips it over, walks around with the bottle, staggering and all that because, they have to really indulge by them having recessive genetic recessiveness and a calcified pineal gland. They really have to overdo it to try to concentrate the pineal gland so they're able to, get some type of euphoric feeling from the substances that they're using, And then when they get like that, they always, try to label, put some type of label to something, some type of nasty label. Oh man, I was fucking wasted. I'm fucking shit faced and splattered, dude, and all that bullshit. Opposed to black people, melanated people. We just say, we feeling it. We jive twisted or whatever. And then we keep it moving. They go overboard to the point where they, go into convulsions and passing out and all types of, they just very extremist when it comes to anything dealing with a euphoric feeling, you know. But enough of that, and, like I said, we have a tendency in the black community to, come down on the people that are using the street drugs and give the people that are using prescription drugs passes, even though they have the same effect and basically do the same damage. And ways to combat those things, because we get high, we use drugs and alcohol to block out a feeling that we don't want to feel. We use that feeling to cover a feeling. For instance, I'll give you an example. Just say, for instance, somebody that has been abused, as a child or during their adolescence years or whatever, and they have lost all trust in confiding with people, because every time they confide in someone, they end up being violated. So when that feeling comes up, that traumatic feeling, which makes them very uncomfortable, to avoid dealing with that feeling, they use a substance that will smother that feeling and give them sort of a euphoric feeling. And that's why a lot of us, and I say us, I'm not using any drugs or anything, but I say us as a people, and that's why we use drugs and alcohol to smother a feeling that we don't want to feel. And when you hear somebody say, "Oh no, there's nothing wrong with me. Oh, I ain't never had no type of issues or nothing. I just do it. I just start doing it to do it." That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Because if you've been instructed about the dangers of drugs and alcohol all your life as adolescents, and then the dangers of it, the severe consequences of it, which is jails, institutions, and death, and you still engage in it, it has to be something going on inside of you that is so overwhelming that you're willing to take the chance on dying or going to jail, or going into an insane asylum, to avoid feeling that feeling or going through that feeling. That's why, you know, um, a lot of people go to programs, they go to, NAAA meetings or whatever, where they can actually, open up, in a supposedly, confidential setting where nothing is supposed to leave the room, where you're in an environment where everybody basically, has had the same results, you know, um, even though they may have different situations and different traumatizing events that may have occurred in their life, but the consequences are the same. They have the same consequences in common, jails, institutions, or death. And and it's supposed to be a confidential meeting where what's said in the room stays in the room, which is um the case. For the most part, I believe that those things, those laws are being upheld and honored. So, and you have a lot of people that are in denial. Oh, I'm not going to no program. I don't have a problem. All I do is this. I just drink this every day. I just, shoot dope once a day. I only smoke one rock. I only blow two lines every day. you know. And then you have the extremists, the people that want to stay and keep that euphoric feeling. They never want to let that feeling go. And so each day they keep trying and trying and trying to get that same feeling they initially got, which they never get again. But they over and over and over and over, they try to get that same euphoric feeling that they got from the first time that they used. And that's why the saying is, one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. because those thousand times that you're trying to get the feeling from the first time, you never get that. So you're out there chasing a particular feeling to capture a particular feeling that you'll never get. Like the first time. So that's why those meetings and having sponsors and things of that nature, those things are important to some people. you know. And for some people, they just surrendered and they just, walked away from it, gave it all up and never looked back, you know. And for some people they need help, you know, returning back to a normal way of thinking and a normal way of living. Because we've all had relatives and we all know people that were murdered behind drugs and alcohol. We all know people that have murdered people for drugs and alcohol, and we know people that live a self-destructing have a self-destructing lifestyle. Steal everything out of the house and sell everything and rob and steal and do all sorts of things. And most of those people, before they got to that level, were functional people. They went to work every day and were good fathers, good husbands, good sons, good daughters, good mothers. You know, until they began to engage in that particular lifestyle, because the drug subculture is a lifestyle. You know, it's a completely different lifestyle. Opposed to um, normal living. So some way, ways to deal with that. First, you could do things such as find where you can attend those type of meetings. Uh, you can link up with people that are living clean, sober lives. People that are living productive lives, and surround yourself with those type of people. And embrace their traditions, embrace their daily activities and their way of thinking by being among them, until you're able to, you know, um, function once again on your own. Um, you can also, a lot of people, try to go and take the religious route. You know, it's a difference between taking a religious route and then taking a spiritual route. But I always recommend, as being a licensed substance abuse counselor, I always recommend that you leave the spiritual and the religious aspects, put that on the back burner. Deal with what's going on, the initial things that need to be addressed, as far as your, what's going on, what led you to this point. How did you get here? And what do you need to do to get back? You know, and not saying that you're not supposed to have a spiritual base, because you're supposed to have a spiritual base. But what I'm saying, as far as running and hiding behind a religion, but not spirituality, a religion, hiding behind a religion without um, ever dealing with those issues and feelings and getting the type of help that you need when these feelings surface once again. You know, um, I've seen a lot of people, run to the church, and they end up back to where they were, because they never dealt with what was going on inside of them. You can't find it's no exterior solution for internal conflict. So you got to go deep within. Take a fearless approach, not be afraid to talk about everything that went on in your life. You start as early as you can, and then you can find out what led to that. What led to the abuse, and then you be able to become a functioning member of the black community once again. And I know that some of our best, some of our strongest and most powerful and our most strongest and smartest and most intelligent brothers and sisters in the black community have a lot of them have succumbed to drugs and alcohol. I'm talking about brothers and sisters that were of genius mind. Richard Pryor. The list goes on and on. Marvin Gaye. Um, you know, Miles Davis. Robert Johnson, John Coltrane. You know, Whitney Houston. I mean, some of Billie Holiday. Some of our most brilliant minds, have been plagued by, substance abuse. Based on particular issues. Traumatic. Most 99% of the time is a traumatic issue, an event that took place in your life, and it doesn't necessarily have to always be a sexual abuse or anything. It could just be emotional abuse. Nowadays where you hear mothers, telling their sons that they're going to be like their father, they're not no good, they're not going to live to be 21, and things of that nature. That's mental and emotional abuse, because what you're doing is stomping on a child's self-esteem, based on a mistake or bad decision that they may have made. So you have physical abuse where people, accept being beat. Women beat men, and but the majority of the time it's these brothers that hit these queens, because a lot of times, these sisters may, point out a shortcoming in the brother or whatever, and he may not want to accept that from her, you know, because he doesn't see and understand the fact that she's saying that because she loves him, and she would rather tell him than somebody else would tell him, but a lot of times the brother doesn't look at it like that. He looks at it like, that's he's being put down. And in some cases, it is like that. You have sisters that put brothers down, because, you know, they feel low, and like they say, hurt people, you know, and that's just one of the ways to deal with recovering from these things. Just like eating addictions, having sugar cravings, because a lot of people say, no, I don't get high, I don't use any drugs, but you're overweight, you're obese, you are a diabetic, and that's based on abusing food, your abuse of food, which you eat into a feeling. You may have been sexually abused, or physically or emotionally or mentally traumatized, and the way you deal with it is through, a half gallon of ice cream, butter pecan ice cream, and a Sara Lee pound cake every other night. Every time that feeling surfaces, or when you think about that traumatic situation and the feelings from that, you don't want to deal with that feeling, so you suppress it, with food, you know, spare ribs, pork chops. You go in there and cook. You sit around, and you've seen a lot of movies where, you know, black and white women, when they're going through some type of relationship crisis with their mate, they'll sit on the couch and go get some bonbons and a thing of ice cream, and eat the ice cream, or a lot of crackers. They just take the spoon and just eat peanut butter and shit like that. You know, excuse me, to deal with that feeling. Now you have sex addiction. because that could have came from a traumatic situation also, where could have been a family member or somebody has told you or made you feel as though the only thing you're good for is sexual encounter with someone, and so you gear your life around that. Whereas though you figure if you equate sex with love. Oh, he really loves me, or I really love him because I did this to him, or or he loves me because he did this to me. And you do it over and over. Every time a feeling comes up, every time that feeling comes up, and it could stem from being exposed to porn at an early age. That you just become that feeling, of having an orgasm is so climatic that you want to feel like that, all day long. So you engage in sexual activities, or you may have various different sexual partners, and and I've seen that damage. I've seen that damage a lot of people, because especially those who think that that a person is being faithful, and that's you're their only partner or whatever, and not knowing that this person has an addiction. That they go from bed to bed, from bed to bed to bed. Doesn't make them a bad person, but it's a selfish mentality based on the fact that they did not want to deal with that traumatic situation. Which once again hurt people, which led to a whole bunch of other people being hurt, thinking they were the only ones. And now the gambling addiction, where you work hard every day, and people say, well, there's nothing wrong with me, spending $300 and $400, at the casino, or playing numbers all day, and uh, things of that nature. And it's just like the drug. You get the first time or first couple of times you may play or get involved with gambling, you may come off. You may score, you may win a nice little lump sum of money. And so you're thinking that that can happen again. And the next thing you know, 5 or 6 years then went by, you haven't won anything, and you just keep spinning, 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 spinning. I've seen people to the point where they've had 3 and 4 car repossessions. Moving from a 6-figure home, to a 3-figure apartment. Lose several jobs. You know, and that kind of the gambling part kind of runs hand in hand with the drug addiction. Because you kind of get the same, you kind of get the same results. Because when you smoking crack, it's just a matter of time before you be homeless. But the same way when you gamble, you can gamble your mortgage away, and it'd be a matter of time before you be homeless as well. So the gambling and the drugs kind of run hand in hand. you know but all these addictions are lethal to the black community, because just take a look around, and just take a look around at 5 people that you know, and out of those 5, 4 of them are struggling with one of those addictions that has taken control and dominance over their life at this particular time, if not yours. And if it's yours, be man enough or be woman enough and be strong enough to go get the help that you need, because you know always remember, somebody's situation more damaging and more traumatic than yours. you know and the people that reach out and get help, those are the people that don't have any false pride. People that are fighting to live, that want to live, that want to retrieve control of their lives back. And they're not worried about who knows that they're struggling with an addiction. Because, like I said, 4 out of 5 people are struggling. And I'm not talking about lightly struggling. I mean struggling with and one of those addictions. You know, and for far as the food, to combat the food addiction, um, holistic, take a holistic approach. Far as buying the proper herbs that it takes to curb the cravings. 99.9% of the time it's the sugar cravings, which alters your mood. And if you don't believe me, just take a look at how you could go into a room full of children, 4 and 5 years old, and not know near one of those children. But if they have an addiction to sugar, all you have to do, they could be jumping up and down and everything. And you can get their complete attention and control of them if you pull out a bag of candy. They'll do whatever you say because they'll go through whatever they have to go through to get the sugar craving soothed. And a holistic approach. The proper herbs, drink the proper teas, the proper exercise, the proper meditation. And when I say meditation, that's the part of spirituality. Like for a lot of people that are dealing with substance abuse, acupuncture is a good meditation time with herbal tea. To bring restoration back to the organs and to the pineal gland. Because all of these substances drain the body of its nutrients. Even gambling. If you're in the casino all night drinking alcohol or whatever, standing up pulling a slot machine for 5 and 6 hours, aside from the emotional strain and the emotional and mental pressure that you go through, it takes effect on you physically too. Where you don't want to even wake up because last night you lost everything. You don't even have gas money. You don't have lunch money when you go to work. So you got to go in the break room and go on somebody else's bag and steal their fucking lunch. Because you gambled all your fucking money up. You gambled your lunch money up for the next till the next pay period. And then this is the insanity of it. While you're fucking starving, waiting on the next paycheck, you're telling yourself, "No, I'm not gonna do this no more." Now I'm in here stealing people's food and all this shit. People writing notes and stapling their motherfucking lunches up because of me. And nah, when I get this time, I'm gonna make sure I put some money to the side so I can have, lunch money. And then when the pay period comes, you do the same exact thing, and you still haven't saved any money for your lunch. You blew it all again. And you say this over and over and over again. Now, doesn't that sound something similar to somebody smoking fucking crack? It's the same way with the food. Because McDonald's has, a lot of sugar in their buns and their salads. That's where most of their sugar is. And you can see the children, how they have the children addicted to McDonald's. And I'll go into that. I'll go into that McDonald's history at another time. But I know, for a tidbit that in 1940 they started taking human fetuses from NIH. They were buying fetuses, chopping the fetuses up, grinding it with the meat. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. And that's what they do to the McDonald's meat. But I'll get into that at another time. But that's why children they crave McDonald's because of the sugar that's in the buns. And these are just some of the addictions. I hope that I hope I have broken it down where you can comprehend, as to what I've been trying to explain to you. I try to break things down in the simplest form where the average person can comprehend it. I don't try to intellectualize, and put a whole bunch of different therapeutic and using 13, 14 letter words that I know the average person, you know, can't comprehend, you know. So I try to break things down to the simplest form, where any 12 or 13-year old can comprehend and understand clearly what I'm saying, because it's very important, and for if you're struggling with any of those things, because we all have some type of vice, we all have some type of struggle, we all have some type of substance or situation that we're wrestling with that we need, you know, possibly, a little assistance with and some guidance so we can overcome or conquer or combat these particular issues, or situations. I don't call them problems. They're just situations because, you know, when you look at it as a problem or as a roadblock or something like that, it makes it difficult for us to overcome those things because we put so much emphasis on the power of that situation. We give it too much power where we don't have power to overcome it. So, um, they're just situations, and you have to learn to deal with things, and be open, be receptive, stop being in denial, stop being so defensive, stop getting so excuse me, getting so offended when someone that truly cares about you and wants to see you, reach your God pinnacle, reach your God frequency, you know, and you get so defensive and and that's common, especially with a lot of substance abusers and people that have food addictions, because they don't want you to, especially you queens. When somebody said that you're fat or you're a little overweight, you take that shit to the extreme, where it takes you in outer space, it just takes you way out, and has your self esteem at an all time low when it doesn't have to be like that, you know. Um, and because you don't want to lie to anybody and tell them that, they've lost weight when they know that they haven't. We have to have an open, honest, and rigorous approach, to ourselves, because see, we have a lot of people that want to, play Dr. Phil and want to, you want to cure everybody else of their addictions, but you don't want any help on yours, or you think that you don't need you above advice because you may have quote unquote a few credentials where you can't be told anything. Personally, I'm always open and receptive because you'll find out, and I found this out through personal experience. Some of the most wretched, downtrodden people have some of the most, have some of the most strongest, deepest wisdom that you could fathom. Because a lot of times, people that went to the University of Concrete, they have more insight and a lot of times more common sense than somebody that went, to the University of Maryland or Howard University, Coward University, or Yale University. I call it female university because they skull and bones and all that type of shit that goes on, up there with them motherfucking devils. Even some of the brothers up there, Obama, Hill Hopper, and all them climbed in caskets naked and all that type of shit, masturbating and shit. But you know, it's about, be open and being receptive. Okay, yeah, I see that. Yeah, I need to work on this. And then don't wait for somebody to approach you to tell you that you fucked up or you struggling with something. Have enough heart to go to a person and say, man, brother, what am I supposed to do? I'm dealing with this right now. Can you give me some insight and some tips on how to deal with this? Where's the nearest detox at? How can I get into a program? How can I lose weight? You know, I get paid tomorrow, and I know what's gonna happen, man. I'm going to Atlantic City, man. Can you just come by and hold some of my money for me, man, so I won't be fucked up, during the week, until I can, go to a Gamblers Anonymous meeting, man, and try to get a grip on this shit, because a lot of people, they'll play like, they're not that bad. And a lot of people are so deep in it, they won't even acknowledge that they're gambling. And I've seen people gamble from everything from basketball games, bowling alley, slot machines, horse races, football pools. All that's gambling. All that's gambling. I've known people that call Vegas, and you can put a bet on anything. They put a bet that, that it'll be a thunderstorm in Arizona next Wednesday, and they put $100 on it. You know, and I mean, all types of different vices that we engage ourselves in. Once again, looking for that ultimate feeling that we got the first time that we've been chasing, and we'll never get that feeling again. You know, like they say, one is too many, 1,000 is never enough. That's all around the board. That's just not for drugs. That's just for food, gambling, sex, all of that, all of that, all of it. All of it's the same. All of it runs hand in hand, and it's detrimental to the black community. Detrimental to the black community. So we need to combat these things, and um, once again, I hope that I have made some type of sense. I know I may have been rambling in certain areas, but forgive me for that. I'm just trying to put some information out to help my brothers and sisters, as well as helping myself at the same time. You know, so until we meet again, Black Power, Hotep, peace.